Come in, take a seat and join us at the table for episode 2 of Famished, a Mr. and Mrs. podcast where we talk about memorable meals, their origins, why food is so great, and more. I'm Mr. Walker Todd, and I'm joined by
Mrs. Walker Todd.
And this week, we're talking about donuts, but not just any donuts, specifically one brand of donuts called
Crosstown Doughnuts.
Let's get into it.
The best donuts of all time.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that is a very
broad
opinion-led statement. Don't encourage the flame wars out the gate.
I know, sorry, I went in too hard.
So, if you haven't heard of Crosstown Doughnuts, who is Crosstown Doughnuts?
So, Crosstown Doughnuts are an awesome chain that is in London that sell donuts, funnily enough.
Hey.
And coffee. They very much pride themselves on creating an awesome experience within a fast-paced city. That's kind of how they see themselves.
So this was my first kind of curious thing when we decided to do Crosstown was, are they just in London? As far as you're aware.
So, they are in London.
Let me tell you.
Ooh. But they're also up in the air if you get on a certain Kiwi airline, because one of the co-founders is a Kiwi, and so you can get donuts if you go on their planes. And I'm not going to lie, I really want to go on their planes.
So they are, in terms of finding their stores, they're in London.
They are in London.
But if you want their flavour, their brand, you can also find it on an airline.
An airline, just randomly.
Can you say which airline?
A
New Zealand airline.
A New Zealand airline.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. We haven't been to New Zealand.
Fuck it, let's go.
Also, I think we're drinking maybe some New Zealand wine. So, hey, perfect. Yeah, clearly signs. Brilliant. I'm taking that as a sign. We should go to New Zealand and have Crosstown Doughnuts in the air on the way.
So, they're a chain. They're in London. So their dough is a special dough. It's a hybrid sourdough creation, which they claim is the first of its kind.
I mean, I'm sure someone has mixed together two doughs before. Like, I feel that's a very bold statement.
It's a very bold statement. I like it.
But their dough is very good though.
Yeah. And then in 2017, they did the same sort of thing, but for a vegan dough. Yeah, so they've done both.
Nice.
But really, I think of them as gourmet donuts.
Okay, so they're not like Krispy Kremes.
No. You can get all the classic flavours, but when you can get the funky flavours, why would you?
Do they, I mean, this is not something I posed you ahead of time, but like, do they have a donut that is, like the Krispy Kreme's classic is just like a basic glazed donut? Does Crosstown have like its classic donut?
Yeah, because they still do like a vanilla bean.
Donut, yeah.
They do a vanilla bean. They do, what do they call it? It's like a jam. It's a jam-filled donut. But they call it something. Oh, a raspberry jam ball.
Oh.
Yeah. So they do have classics.
Yeah.
But they're really well known for their funky flavours, original flavours, and also their seasonal flavours, because they'll have special edition donuts that come out regularly.
Like a pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks, but a donut. So
I think they did a pumpkin spice something donut one year for autumn.
Immediately better than a latte though.
Yeah.
By a million times over.
A million times. Also, they're really special in the sense that nothing is manufactured. So, although it's technically being mass-produced, it's being mass-produced by hand. So that goes for the dough, rolling the donuts,
count as
everything.
Mass production if it's by hand?
Well, the quantity.
Batch production, I suppose.
Yeah.
You'd have to call it somewhere in the middle.
And they make their own jams, compotes, their own icings, their own fillings. Everything is handmade, fresh ingredients, delicious.
I mean, that does make sense because everything tastes amazing. Not just the dough is great, obviously. The icing's pretty solid.
Yeah.
They have some fun flavours in there. Also, I'd say points for presentation. You go into
always beautiful.
Yeah. Before we get into the experience of being in a Crosstown Donut store, I would say I've been pretty familiar with the brand for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And I assumed by this point that everyone, especially if they were in or around London, knew the brand. But we have very quickly mentioned it to a bunch of our friends, and no one knows it. And I think they're pretty established right now as probably one of the, big, as you said, kind of like not Krispy Kreme, but like fancy donut, artisanal donut
I'm getting
places.
very upset that you keep mentioning Krispy Kreme.
I'm sorry, but it's a good baseline, right? People know Krispy Kremes. It's like
People
one of
know
those established
Krispy Kreme.
brands. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This ain't Krispy Kremes. This way better.
Yeah, massively. I mean, you're going to pay a significant amount more for them.
I feel like it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, it was a birthday gift, right? For me, my birthday was at the end of April, and was it from your mum?
Yeah.
Yeah, your mum got me a box, like a selection box of Krispy Kremes, and that's an awesome gift in my opinion. So good, so in fact that we then turned that around and then used it for a couple of our friends who have also had lockdown birthdays. We are still in lockdown if you're listening to this as we're recording this. Still in lockdown. Don't really know when it's going to end, but I think we're having a nice time, especially with this glass of wine next to us and the cats in the sunshine. It's not too bad.
Their whole experience and the way they carry themselves is really good. Like, there are other quite well-established kind of artisanal brands who trying to order online from them during this period is a nightmare.
So they've kind of adapted.
Whereas they have nailed it. But I think they had it in place before anyway.
Right.
So you can have it delivered to your door. Mm. I think it's all London postcodes.
That makes sense if they are only in
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
And you can pick up, I think, from a few of the stores. And it's just really easy. I mean, we didn't pay delivery. There was no delivery charge.
Oh, but you pay a premium for the good quality donuts, so I guess.
They come in nice packaging. Yeah. And, it's lovely. And now, within lockdown, I think they've really showcased what a great brand they are in the sense that they've produced all of these like extra fancy kind of gift packages where you can get a bottle of champers that comes with your donuts, but also they've done a collective box.
Oh yeah, we saw this like right as we kind of entered into lockdown.
Yeah, loads of like fruit and veg and milk and eggs. It's all local.
Which isn't from them, right? That's from other kind of like independent small...
Well, kind of.
Crosstown. Like, what's with the name? Like, is it just like getting donuts across town, or is there something more to it than that?
So it leads on nicely from what you're just asking. So Crosstown Doughnuts is actually a collective.
The business itself is a collective?
Yeah, so they see themselves as a collective. I'm not going to lie, some of it was a little bit confusing when reading up on it, because so there's the CEO and co-founder, whose name is, it's gone out of my head because it's quite an unusual name. JP Then.
THEN?
Yeah. And then his co-founder...
Is this the Kiwi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Adam Willis, who is co-founder of Gourmet Burger Kitchen.
Oh,
you got a big name.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then there's lots of other big names that were involved in the startup of this.
Right, so it's like a collective of established people who are like, there's a gap for a good
people
old
who
donut brand.
Know what they're doing.
Yeah, especially in somewhere like London, which is fiercely competitive.
Yeah. Hence why it grew, I think, so quickly. But yeah, there's a group of people, so hence the name. There are lots of different sort of, let's just say, foodie-based people. Some are chefs. Some have just started, I would say, more businesses that are food-related. Yeah. Okay. And they're all from all around the world. So they wanted to, Crosstown, so they wanted to embody that in their name, that they have such a diverse group of shareholders. But then also in America, there's the Crosstown bus, which goes across major cities. And
kind of like the Greyhound or something.
Yes.
Okay.
And they wanted a bit of a nod to the States because that's where the donut originates from.
Sure.
So yeah, that's why they called it that. I think it's a really cool name. Their logo and their branding is really nice.
Cool. So Crosstown is, in this context, the town is the world. That's really cool. That's I had no idea. That's amazing.
Yeah, very cool.
And yeah, it kind of speaks not into the roots, but it's also then interesting. Now you've told me that there's this...
So the collective boxes.
Yeah. The vibe of a Crosstown, if you've ever been to the branch, you might know what I'm talking about, but if not, then definitely go. Is the use of GBK, was it? Yeah. Gourmet Burger Kitchen. Like, there's this kind of like modern, like a contemporary cleanliness and like style that they've gone for. That I feel like you can kind of see in both. Yeah,
they class themselves more along the street food side of things.
Really?
Yeah.
I would never think that.
Well, because it's very much grab and go, isn't it? They don't, a lot of their stores, they don't have a lot of seating.
Yeah, that's true.
So
actually,
it's very much about, I'm going to go pick up my donuts. And honestly, every time I've used them, we've used them quite a few times.
Recently, anyway. I don't think
And
we
also
are.
in the past, like for your 30th, I got those
Oh my
two
God, that was
massive
so
boxes.
good. Yeah.
I literally just placed an order online.
On the day?
No, definitely in advance. I had a bit of a chat with them online as well, and they were super helpful because I was like, it's for his birthday, I want some really good flavours.
Sure.
And they were like, we'll put the boxes together for you, and then they let me know when they were ready in store to go collect, and I just went and grabbed them.
Amazing.
And they were ready.
That's great.
So yeah, they're super seamless. Makes donuts way easier.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
Well, depends who you're asking, really. If it's like a fitness, like a personal trainer, probably not.
Probably not.
You and I, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was saying, like we definitely appreciated the convenience during lockdown because both for us and also as a gift, like, they're a great gift, I think.
Yeah, everyone we sent them to has been really excited to get them.
Because they're quality. And also, I think we've only sent it to people in London who know the brand already or are aware of the brand.
Yeah.
Be intrigued to see if we just gave someone some random donuts, whether they'd be like, cool or not.
Who knows?
But then try them and you'll be like... is there anything on like their... When you were researching, was there anything on their presentation of the actual donuts? Because they also look amazing.
Well, there's a bit around the ingredients and stuff that they use because everything's fresh. There's no artificial anything, which I really appreciate because nothing gets my goat more than like a green donut. Like, why is it that colour? Why is what's on top of it?
Do you mean the dough or the icing?
The icing, like, or anything that's no.
To call back.
It's not a food, is it?
To call back to your least favourite donut brand, as it would seem. I'm pretty sure I've seen in the past Krispy Kreme did a ring donut that was like, you know, like the orange and green Tic Tacs. It was like icing in those two colours on two different donuts.
No.
Yeah, these look, I mean, obviously it's sugar, but like they look a lot more natural.
Yeah, and so that's a really beautiful colour palette. I think whenever you go into the store, they're all laid out.
And all sorts.
And they're stunning. And sometimes they have like a crumble on the top, or they have like the fruit that's relevant, or...
Yeah, you mentioned they're seasonal.
Things. Yeah, they do seasonal donuts.
So like, have you got any examples? Do you have the menu there? Hello.
You can get the menu up.
I could.
What's their current seasonal ones? Whilst we're chatting, what's their current seasonal ones? Also, I love that both of the founders, I think it was both of them, travelled the world before they sort of launched it to look at different flavours and look at different donuts. I was like, what a bougie thing to do.
Well, we need to research.
I'm just going to travel the world and I'm just going to go to all these different countries and eat donuts.
And we're going to do a work from home box.
Yeah.
Oh, also they do their own coffee by the looks of it.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. If we drank coffee, I'm sure we'd appreciate it. But neither of us drink coffee or tea.
You won't really hear us talk about their coffee. Sorry, Crosstown, because we don't drink coffee. So.
But it's probably good.
Yeah. I feel like your donuts are so good. I'm sure your coffee's amazing.
Yeah, if it's comparable. Oh man, I'm just gonna list off some flavors just so you know. Chocolate truffle, cinnamon scroll, which is kind of like a Cinnabon or a cinnamon swirl, same idea, but more donutty and chewy. Tongan vanilla bean glaze, which is I think they're classic.
Yeah, that's a classic, but obviously they don't just call it a vanilla donut.
No. Matcha tea, peanut butter and blackcurrant compote. Oh my god.
That's a regular and it's really good.
It's so good.
The top is like covered in icing and then it's got loads of salty peanuts on it and a great big blob of jam.
It's a weird metric, but sometimes I think the sign of a good donut, and maybe this is a bad metric to go by, but when they're able to do a ringed donut but with a filling.
Oh, which they can do. Chocolate truffle one. So it's a ring donut and then it's got inside the dough the ring of basically like chocolate ganache, and then on the top it's got a chocolate ganache, and then they half coat it in chocolate cocoa powder.
And also, you know baking much better than I do, but like...
That's not that easy.
That's the thing, right? That seems like a hard thing to be able to make. It's like a stuffed crust pizza, but way harder. And arguably way more delicious.
Yes.
Rhubarb and ginger. I just want to list off some more flavours because it's making me hungry and I want to roll with it as well.
No, I kind of want you to stop, but also
Yuzu and passion fruit. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Also, so they're in the favourites menu. They have a dedicated... You mentioned vegan baking.
Yeah, so they were the first donut brand to ever open a purely vegan store, which...
That's bold.
Amazed me.
Yeah, but also in London I feel like there's a bajillion vegans nowadays, so that's a great place to fire at that market.
And now they have a couple of market stands as well, which are purely vegan. So I think there's one in Victoria Park.
So you're talking about them as a street food brand almost. Do they have little pop-ups and stuff?
Yeah, but it's partly because of the origins of how they started. So they started with a market stall.
Oh.
And then they got a food truck. And then they opened their fleets of stores.
I assumed with the background of the founders and stuff that they could have just gone straight for the stores if they wanted to.
I think they could have done, but I think they're the type of foodie people that want to be authentic and get it right. And I think for them it was really important to start with a market stall because that's where they trialled loads of their flavours.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So back in the day, that's what they did. And now they've got about 16 stores. So
not a huge amount.
No.
It's not like a Starbucks, but... talking about the fact that they don't have a lot of seating inside, I did appreciate seating once because I was at an event for my day job. And I was at the BAFTA building in, I don't know, just off Piccadilly Circus, hanging out with the stars. Literally no stars were there. And then afterwards I was like, oh no, I need to write up this phone thing. It was for a Nokia tablet. It was very, hey, Nokia did tablets. Anyway, that's beside the point. There's a Crosstown over the road on, is it Piccadilly, opposite BAFTA, is a Crosstown Doughnuts.
Oh, the same road as Fortnite and Masons.
Yeah. Who's the bougie one now?
There you go, guys.
That's your favourite reference is Fortnite and Masons. Oh my God.
Hey, I like food.
Yeah,
and they did the first lobster flavoured scone, so I needed to know about it.
Okay, we'll do an episode of that because that's interesting and bizarre. But yeah, it was lovely just setting up there on that road because it's so busy and it's so interesting. And obviously I just had a permanent supply of Crosstown Doughnuts behind me. And they were getting them in as I was there. So I was getting fresh doughnuts. So good.
Yeah, I must say, I have never really sat in one of their stores. I've always just grabbed and gone.
It's alright.
Yeah.
They're quite dark. They're well lit, but they have black everywhere. Black and white, there's very contrast.
Yeah, it's very
as their logo kind of reflects, but also the stores are like that too.
But considering their first market stall was only in 2014, they've accelerated pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think that's quite fast. 16
stores in central London, like I was saying, one of the most
major places.
Yeah.
Their first store was in Soho.
That's a strong first store. Oh, we've been to that one. You took me there.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've been to a few of them.
Yeah, maybe. We should tick them off. When was your first exposure to Crosstown Doughnuts?
I actually remember it quite vividly. So it was when I was managing Luminary, which is a social enterprise bakery.
So there's an overlap there.
I was having a great time. So yeah, I was managing that, and one of the cafes we delivered to was on Brick Lane, and they'd opened a store there. So it was the first time I saw it, and I watched it sort of start to open, and I was like, oh, what is this? And then obviously went and got a donut and I was like, wow, these are...
pretty good.
What about you?
I think it was thanks to you. Actually, I think most of my interactions with Crosstown are thanks to you. I presume you found out, I guess because of you working sort of in the baking world a little bit, you kind of already had a
vested interest.
Yeah.
Because there was part of me that was like, who is this?
A competitor.
What is this? But they were so different, that wasn't a big deal at all. But yeah, and I've always had an active interest in baked goods.
Sure.
And we've been
That's why I love you.
We've been to many of the top bakeries in London.
Yeah.
So, and some of them we've gone to because they're very fancy and showy, but actually the reality of the cake is a bit lame.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my first experience was, it might have been for a birthday again. I think Crosstown Food is probably on my birthday.
I think that's mostly because I'm probably doing the organising and ordering.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is what we're having.
Yeah, it's a great shout. And I think we went to the original one. I think you took me to the one in Soho. I've been to a few, so I can't remember the right order, but I believe it was the one, weirdly, if I remember it correctly, it's right next to the Weller office, the hair company. They have a showroom and an office over the road in Soho.
I feel like I made a note of where it is.
Of the Soho one or the place?
Broadwick Street.
Cool.
Was the first one in Soho.
Cool.
Oh, also, I had a bit of a flashback. So not only... I remember them being on Brick Lane.
Yeah.
But also, I think actually prior to that, I'd seen them in underground stations.
Oh,
because
what,
they
again, kind of
trialled
pop-ups?
mini stores in the underground stations, so people might have seen them there.
So they were really A, smart, and B, aggressive, like to be able to
Very.
get into big, popular, like busy places like
Yeah.
train stations.
Piccadilly Circus was one of the underground stations.
I could totally imagine that Old Street as well.
I think Old Street was the one where I saw them.
Oh really? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally picture them there.
Because I also saw a brownie company there. That's a famous brownie company now. So yeah, I think quite a few.
Well, you're not taking me for brownies. You've taken me for donuts so many times. You've never taken me for brownies.
We'll go for brownies.
Yeah.
We can order some. There's
No.
a very good brownie company that you can have them ordered to your house.
So cheap for a future episode where we're literally
However,
eating brownies.
They were one of the, like when I was looking for stuff to send our friends,
Yeah.
I looked at them and
The
the
brownie company you're
postage
talking
was
about.
so expensive,
Oh.
plus the product was expensive. I was like, no.
Let's not badmouth them right now in case you want to talk about them in the future and be like, ooh, we love these guys because they're delicious.
No, it's good to be realistic.
Yeah, true.
Because Crosstown Doughnuts,
Screw
I would
those
say,
guys.
Screw those guys. Crosstown Doughnuts, I would say, I would never really go to them for a classic donut.
No, I would agree. They're like, if you want something fun and exciting and different.
A classic donut, I would go to Bread Ahead.
Oh, you're so bougie. I've never been to a Bread Ahead.
And if I want something that's absolutely outrageous, I would go to Donut Time.
Interesting. Okay,
But
yeah.
I do not love Donut Time.
Yeah,
I have to be in the mood.
We can touch on donut time. I feel like we might also like come to those in future.
Aren't they
but
also Kiwi?
I have no idea.
I think they're an Australian brand, anyway.
Well, hold up. Kiwi is not Australian. You know that, right?
Oh, not sorry, Australia. New Zealand, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If anyone's seen Flight of the Conchords, it's like that scene where they go like, "Oh no, we're from New Zealand, not Australia." We say, "Where's the car?" and they say, "Where's the car?" It's so good.
So confusing.
Very specific reference. If anyone
No
gets
offense,
that,
anyone.
hats off to you. No, not at all. No.
So
So yeah, I guess to touch on it, donut time in my head is more like the freak shake of donuts, where like it's a big spectacle donut, but it doesn't
although they're
necessarily
classics,
taste as amazing
yeah,
as a crosstown.
their classics are quite good because they are redonkulous. Like if you want a vanilla cream filling or a jam filling, it's going to be mostly filling versus
Right.
dough.
They're decadent, but not in an elegant way.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say
They're excessive.
they feel quite American.
Yeah. I think I would agree with that. Yeah.
But I don't.
I said excessive. It's kind of
Love
that vibe,
that.
right? No, I think it's got time and a place. Sometimes you want a dirty takeaway, as we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago.
I would say it's like the dirty takeaway donut.
But still fancier than
For
like
me.
a Krispy Kreme.
Oh, way fancier.
Exactly, yeah.
But
So-
also massive. They're like yay big.
If you're listening on audio, yeah, this is like what?
Like half the size
3
of your
or
head.
4 inches thick you're holding right now. It's a bit ridiculous.
Like a
isn't it?
burger.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Crosstown treads the line better.
Crosstown's like a nice, perfect size.
It's beautifully sized. It's elegantly executed. The flavours are well considered.
Bread Ahead, again, quite a chunky donut.
I can't comment, and I'm really upset about that.
Oh my god, what?
I've never had any Bread Ahead product.
Get out!
Well, I'm blaming you, because clearly you are my introduction to all of these artisanal, fancy baking experiences, and you have not yet treated me. I've even recorded a Bread Ahead Insta tutorial.
Yeah, you should check out their Instagram, guys, because it's very good. They're doing loads of tutorials.
Yeah.
Also, I've heard from friends, I've not done one myself, that the classes are very good.
Oh, really?
They do classes, and I think you can go and you make like 6 or 12 donuts or something. and then
Again,
you
this is
can-
Bread Ahead, not Crosstown.
Yeah,
I wish
sorry.
Crosstown did donut tutorials, because...
They do not, but
Yet.
yeah, well, you never know. But I feel like with Crosstown, they know what they're doing and they stick to it,
Yeah.
and I like that
Yeah.
because then that means they nail it every single time. I've never eaten a bad donut.
From Crosstown.
No, the only thing I would say is that the latest one we got, which was like Sri Lankan
Oh, what, the birthday box?
cinnamon something.
Yeah.
Smidge dry. I like a filling or
I
a
like
glaze.
a feeling, okay.
So I was less keen.
Because that
I
was kind of like powdered cinnamon sugar, wasn't it? That was the coating and the flavour.
Is this
that.
more a cinnamon swirl?
The dough was wonderful though, because it was a lot softer than a cinnamon swirl. Oh man,
So
it's so good.
So good.
We cannot order donuts after this. We've recorded.
I mean, I think we might be.
So dangerous. As we're talking about flavours,
Yes.
what is? If you know, you might have in your
I do know.
research. Tell me what is like the most popular donut that they sell.
So consistently,
Yeah.
from the beginning until now, they've said that one of their most popular, I'm going to read this because it's quite long.
Yeah, sure.
One of their most popular is the sea salt caramel with banana cream on chocolate sourdough.
Oh, that's so good.
I mean, I want it now. And then the other one is their raspberry jam ball. However, I would like to caveat that with a personal opinion that, of course, a jam donut's going to be really popular because
it's an established
the safe people. That's what they're going to order.
I mean, if you're playing it safe, don't go to somewhere like Crosstown Doughnuts. Like,
well, pump the brakes. Their classics are still very good.
Yeah, I know, but like they're missing out on the fun stuff.
True. I would always think that. I would always go fun. I want to taste the unusual. I want to taste the different things. I'm not that bothered about a jam donut.
Yeah.
I am bothered about a cream-filled donut.
Well,
or a chocolate-filled donut.
What's your favourite Crosstown flavour?
Ooh.
I have the menu here of the flavours if you want to glance.
No.
That's silly.
So,
as if you didn't already know.
So mine is actually one that was made quite a while ago, but I'll never forget eating it. So it was a beetroot.
Unforgettable donut.
So good. A beetroot sourdough.
We had beetroot today.
So it was pink.
It was pink purple.
And it had a lemon and thyme filling and
I think I had this one. I think you made sure I had this when it was still in store.
So
that was the seasonal one then, presumably, if it's not there anymore.
I think they regularly pull it out of the bag though now.
Because they know it's
good. So I love a herb with a sweet thing. So I like lemon and thyme. I like those kind of flavour combinations. So for me, it was an absolute winner. And then I also love their chocolate truffle one, which is the one we talked about earlier. Because I love chocolate.
That beetroot one is the perfect example of like a donut that if someone just said like, here's this one, I would probably not choose it. But
why are we married?
Yeah. Whoa, hang on, wait, quick. Having now had it, I would say, yeah, I'm glad I had it because what an experience, culinary, like flavour-wise, it is.
Yeah, it's very good.
Magic,
It's
memorable.
very good. Yeah, no, I nailed it. That's what it was.
Yeah, I smashed it first time round. Perfect.
But yeah, the chocolate truffle one is amazing. And I mean, every time I eat one of their donuts, I have a proper Homer Simpson moment. And I'm not going to lie, right now, my mouth is watering.
I was trying to think, have I ever seen you actually dribble out your mouth a bit talking about food?
You've definitely heard me slurp, be like...
Yeah. It's great for an audio medium, just slurping noises.
I'm a very attractive eater, everyone.
I'm torn. Because in any context, I love peanut butter and jam.
Oh.
Or jelly if you're American, but jam. And their peanut butter and blackcurrant compote is pretty good. It's pretty rich. Like, it's very rich.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So I'd like to go for something maybe not quite as rich and touch on that chocolate truffle one, which is the less rich in this decision if I have to choose. In my Sophie's Choice of
love that that's the less rich one.
That's what I mean. But yeah, I think the chocolate truffle, you can't go wrong. Because isn't the dough chocolate as well, if memory serves?
No.
Oh.
The
is
dough
there
is
one
a
that
plain
is
dough.
chocolatey dough?
Yeah, they do have some.
I've eaten a few of their donuts. I don't know.
I think we've eaten too many. That's
Let
what
me
we
just
know.
say my favourite one is anything with chocolate in, I guess. But yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, they can't really make a wrong donut. There was also something you mentioned earlier about the balls. You said that was the flavour bit. Did they not do little like small like kind of balls of donut dough with fillings and toppings? Still?
I think they still do mini ones.
As like a trial, you can like try those as like tasters.
I think so, and I think sometimes they have their classic like their jam. I think their jam ball is one of those little ones.
Right.
So you can go into the store and you can buy a standard sized donut, delicious, or you can get a little one if you're not very hungry, or you could get a few little ones and then you get different flavours. I think it's a way that you can then sample multiple flavours and eat quite a few at a time, although you and I have no issue in putting away like 6 donuts.
Yeah.
So.
Which is a problem.
Yeah. I don't see it as a problem. I just see it that we're having a great time in life.
Absolutely. I'd say those ball things are a good way to get in if you are curious about Crosstown. Probably a good way to sample some of the more crazy things.
Although I don't think you can order those to your house right now. So
True.
A good way to sample, I would say, is get their work from home box.
Is that what I got?
Yeah, it's the cheapest box.
It's really good still though, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So you get 6 donuts. You can either choose classic or you can choose favourites. If you choose classics, which is what you had, then you're going to have things like your vanilla bean one, the cinnamon one.
So you don't pick individual flavours. You just say the genre of the menu set,
and they'll give you what's freshly done.
Okay, cool.
And then the favourites, you might get something the peanut jam one.
Yeah.
And
please compote.
and some others. So yeah,
I like that though, because that is like, that adds an element of randomness that will maybe push you to try something new that you might not have had before.
Yes, which is really fun. Plus, then if you get the favourites, you might get one of their seasonals in there too. Because I think if you order the classics, they're not going to put a seasonal in there.
Yeah. Cool.
Because their seasonals are always a bit wacky, aren't they? Like you mentioned yuzu earlier.
Yeah, yuzu and passion fruit. That's a I mean, it's a classic combination if you're like bougie.
Yeah.
Because most people, if I said, what's a yuzu? They'd be like, oh.
Yuzu cake
I don't
is
know.
so good.
I just know it's citrus.
Yeah.
It's like super mild, but it's nice in the context of...
It's very delicate, so I'm surprised they've put it with passion fruit, actually.
Is it because when you add the sugar element, it just brings it out? I don't know.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe we need to order to try one.
Maybe we do. I like that most of this episode is just us threatening to order donuts for ourselves. Yeah. So would you recommend Crosstown Doughnuts?
100%.
Yeah, I'd say 1000%. They're pretty phenomenal.
I would probably go to them as my go-to for all donuts. Although there's, as we've mentioned, many other great donut places.
Well, now I need to try a bread-ahead donut. But yeah, I think Donut Time has its place. Krispy Kremes if you're feeling dirty, but Crosstown is like a really good quality staple.
Yeah.
Staple for donuts, which shouldn't be too regular, but is probably more regular for us than we maybe should.
So yeah, they're up there.
High five. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in again. We really appreciate the response to episode 1 of Famished, where we talked takeaway. I'm sure that won't be our only conversation about takeaway related things, because I mean, there's so much more to talk about as there is in the world of donuts. But yeah, Crosstown Doughnuts done. Definitely check them out if you fancy a naughty nibble in lockdown. And obviously, once the stores are open and lockdown is lifted, definitely go check them out if you're in the London area. Hopefully, they'll expand to more places, because I feel like if people are listening to this on the other side of the world, they're missing out. So yeah, I guess come to London and try them then instead.
Yeah.
But yes, we have, since episode 1, we have managed to get the podcast into more places. So if you didn't already know and you're just listening to this through not your podcast app of choice, we're now on everything from SoundCloud to Pocket Casts to Apple Podcasts to Google Podcasts to Spotify and a few others in between. Tune in as well, I think.
And you'll be able to see the video of this on YouTube.
Yes, yeah. If you wanted to see this in video form, I mean, we've waited to the end to tell you this, so maybe you won't want to listen to this particular episode again. But the idea is that going forward, we're also going to try and film these, so you can also watch us on YouTube as well if you want to see our faces as we kind of do the Homer Simpson drool and whatnot. Maybe not exactly that, but you know what I mean. So yeah, this was episode 2 of Famished. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy the podcast, please maybe go and rate and subscribe us on Apple Podcasts. As I believe that's the only place really worthwhile reviewing a podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, if not, just keep listening, keep tuning in. Stay tuned to our social media channels. We've got a bunch of platforms now that we're on.
Yeah, give us a like on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Famished Family.
Yep.
Where you'll see loads of other information as well. So obviously we do the podcast and that's kind of the main bit, but we post...
Instagram's the main platform for this stuff. Yeah, like we post meals that we've eaten in the past that we've really enjoyed, and probably things that we'll touch on in future episodes.
And we've also started highlighting, which you'll see on our Insta stories, great places that do delivery.
Yes.
So during lockdown, and also great home tutorials if you want to do some baking.
Yeah,
we did
not just a pretty voice, we also have some helpful tips for you guys if you want to keep your culinary expeditions fresh in lockdown. We
followed along with one of Bread Ahead's tutorials, and we made hot cross buns.
I was going to say, I mean, I thought we were quite generous there, to be honest. I kind of really just enjoyed the passion fruit glazed hot cross bun at the end. It was pretty good.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah. Maybe we talk about Bread Ahead in another episode, because we mentioned a lot in this one.
I think so.
Yeah, but you need to let me sample some of their wares first, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, that was episode 2 of Famished. I have been Mr. Walker Todd.
I have been Mrs. Walker Todd. Thank you so much for joining us at the Famished table, and don't forget, always leave room for more.